Welcome to the Hot Mess Cosmic Express, where we talk about the stars, shuffle a few cards, and never pretend to have our shit together.
Mercury's decided to moonwalk through Sagittarius, and you know what that means. Cosmic chaos with a side of unfiltered truth. If your travel plans derail, your Wi-Fi ghosts you, or your mouth writes a check your brain can't cash, don't panic. You're just living the retrograde dream. It's not here to punish you. It's here to remind you to slow down, check your facts, and reconnect with what you actually believe.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. I am professional tarot reader and certified moonologer Darcy Britt.
And I'm your co-commander of chaos, the hot mess astrologer herself, Tracy Gardner.
Oh, Tracy, I absolutely love that intro. I think that is absolutely great. The hot mess astrologer herself. I love it. I love it.
Playing
But
around with it.
I love it. Well, you got to find something that rolls off the tongue just right, don't you? It just has to kind of flow. And then once it flows, you're good. So I tell you what, before we start talking about Mercury retrograde, which is one of my most dear and loving, I don't know, near and dear to my heart, because it always throws me for a doozy. I want to pull a card for everybody really quickly. So we're just going to focus on basically what message do we all need to know most right now. We've got the full moon in Taurus coming up pretty soon. I know that's based on when we're recording this. So let's just see what we need here. I'm going to pick a card here, any card. Oh my goodness. Wow. Perfect for the full moon time. This card tells us it's time to cool our emotions. Ooh. So it may be that emotionally, we talk about where things are at. It could very well be that emotionally you're feeling a little bit stingy, or you're feeling a little bit, maybe a little bit froggy, wanting to jump a little bit. And so we're all being told, just take a deep breath, especially like, again, when we're recording this, I'm trying to find it here. It's full moon in Aries. So it just says here, if this kind of resonates with you, if you feel like you need to seek a balance between the you and the me, that would be what this card is for. And it says here, maybe you're in the middle of an argument, and maybe if it's even with yourself, or maybe you've been overly kind of forward or pushy about something. If that is you, it says here that this is a time of heated emotions and frayed tempers. Anger is better than despair, as Abram Hicks taught us, because anger spurs us to do something, but you may get better results if you master your emotions. So basically, anger is an emotion. And, when we're angry, sometimes that does fuel us to do things, which isn't so bad. But you definitely don't want to overdo it, because then, as the analogy here they've put, then your pot kind of boils over. So try to find a good balance while we're trying to, we're saying get your shit together is really the theme for this particular month of November 2025. So just think about that as you're trying to plan your goals, and everybody's getting that little sting and wanting to jump up and get stuff done. Cool it just a minute. Make sure that you're doing this. You're mastering your emotions as you're moving forward. You're not just going ahead without some sort of a goal. So that's how I would suggest you cool your emotions. It's all good,
That's
right?
very
So,
important for this Mercury retrograde.
yeah, you think so?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's dive into it and talk about it, because it is, as I mentioned before, this is early. We're recording this early November of 2025, and Mercury Mercury goes retrograde 3 to 4 times a year. And we get, Tracy, this is the last time, isn't it? This is the
For
last
this
bout
year.
for 2025, isn't it? Yep. And it's kicking off on, what's your say? I think I've
I
got
have
the
November 9th.
November 9th. Yep. So I show November 9th as well, which is not too far off. And I'm honestly really, really thankful that it is going to happen. How long is this one for? This one, sometimes it goes for 1 to 3 weeks, I think is generally how long it lasts. But
I
what's this
have that
one?
ends on November 29th. So it's about 2 weeks,
Oh my
about
goodness.
20
Okay.
days, a little over. It's about 20 days.
So that covers Thanksgiving, right? That would cover Thanksgiving.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk before we get into, because I'm looking at my notes on what my suggestions are, and when you said those dates, I thought, well, I'll be shucky darn, that works perfectly. So, let's talk before we jump into how to work and survive Mercury retrograde. Very, very quickly, Tracy and I always like to add an element of learning to our podcast, just because we it's easy to share the information that everybody sees out there on what you see with the planetary movements and with the transits. But Tracy and I really like to take it a little bit deeper and help you guys understand a little bit about how we come to the conclusion of what we talk about on our show, for nothing more than helping you guys learn how to do it for yourself, so that when you hear somebody say these things, you'll just instinctively know what it means. Not that we don't want you to like us and listen to us and come back and, and work with us, but we really want you to learn how to use the stuff for your on your own. So let's talk a little bit about the planet Mercury and what retrograde means when Mercury is there. How's that sound?
All right.
What do you have? Let's talk about Mercury. Fire away. What you got, girl?
Mercury is the planet of communication,
Yep.
um, thinking, um,
Technology.
yep, technology. Thank you.
Those are the big
Um,
3, to be honest, that I have. Is it's all about anything communication. It's about your mind. So that's your
mhm.
thinking. And then anything communication-wise, and then technology. Those are really the 3 big keywords, I think, that stand out when we talk about Mercury, don't you?
Yes, I
That
would
seems to
agree.
be like the theme every time we talk about that beautiful planet that's super, super close to the sun. Is it's all about the planet of the mind, it's all about the planet of the communication. So it's all about how you think, it's all about how you communicate, and it's all about how technology affects your life or how you use technology. Now,
Because technology is a form of communication.
bingo, yes, it is. So when all of that is going forward, everything is going well, we're communicating well, things are moving, our life is progressing, it's going great. Mercury, 3 to 4 times a year, flips the switch and likes to go what we in astrology like to call retrograde. And so I can't even say the word, the right word. I was going to say tell me, and then I was trying to say your name, and it came out like a tell. So, Tracy, why don't you walk us through retrograde? What does it mean? What does it astrologically wise? Why does it matter when a planet, and even like Mercury, why does it matter when it's in retrograde?
So retrograde. So any planet can go retrograde. It's not just Mercury. You've probably heard us talk. Jupiter, Venus has been retrograde here recently. Saturn. So any planet can go retrograde. The term retrograde is that it appears to be moving backward. So it's an optical illusion. So none of the planets actually go backward. It's
There's no
that
stop and reverse, right?
right.
Beep.
It's that from our point of view here on Earth, when the planets are going by, that they're slowing down, but we're still moving at the same rate. So it seems like they are going backwards because we're going our same speed. So it's an optical illusion.
Got it. Yeah, that's a big one. That's why I really wanted you to explain that, because as a I don't know, a budding astrologer, we're always learning whatever. One of the things about retrograde, I honestly, until very recently, I didn't put 2 and 2, and not that I really thought like there was a stop and like a, "Hey, Fred, throw the brakes on and throw her in reverse." But I kind of did, I guess. And then the way when you explained that, I thought, "Oh my gosh, it's an optical illusion, Darcy." If and so then it just really, really blew my mind. But so that optical illusion, though, as we have learned with Mercury when it's in retrograde, that optical illusion can still wreak like freaking havoc on our lives, right? Because if everything's going great when it's moving forward, well, when it goes retrograde and it's moving, like you said, optical illusionally backwards, everything goes backwards, doesn't it?
Right.
Thinking goes
Everything,
backwards.
like, slows down. Everything gets, when things slow down, sometimes they can get stuck, and it
Yep.
kinda gives you that feeling like, which kinda gives you the feeling that things are going backwards because it's not moving forward like you're used to. Things are just kinda, like, slow and, like, kinda like you're in mud. Everything's harder to do because things are slow.
Right. It's hard to get your
So
message across. It's hard to, it's hard to think about things, or to think forward. I think a lot of times when we talk about Mercury in retrograde, you get the chance to rethink, or sometimes thoughts from the past will come back up
yes,
during that Mercury retrograde, because there are things, it's that repart. Now, where that energy is felt and what the flavor that Mercury in retrograde has, and where you might rethink things, or where you might um not be able to get your message across, well, that is where the zodiac sign where Mercury is at when it goes into retrograde, and that this time around is the sign of Sagittarius, fiery Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, right? Is that right?
right.
Yeah,
Yep,
oh my
you're
gosh, I
right.
got it right. I didn't even have to look at any notes, like, "Ah, ha, ha, I got it." We were talking about that before we went on air, like, we know this. So, so Mercury in retrograde is got a flavor of, like, rethinking, or, recommunicating, chances to go back and recommunicate. Maybe you said something wrong before, blah, 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 but we're gonna have to add some flavor to that, and that Sagittarius flavor.
Correct.
So what do you feel? How does that look for you? Now it's time to look at some notes. What do you have for Mercury retrograde
So
in Sag?
I have, travel and big ideas are going to be the big things. The travel bug may bite you,
Oh,
or the plan you thought was set may need reworking. Higher learning, belief systems, philosophy, those are all on the hot seat. That those are Sagittarius flavoring, as we would say,
right.
that could come into play. So, if you have any travel plans coming up in the next like 20 days, I would triple check
Ye-
everything, making sure that, you know, the hotel you booked, the flight you booked, any excursions, anything like that, double check, triple check just to make sure because there could be issues.
Yep. No, I totally agree with that, as far as, and other things to think about when you pair up travel and you pair up technology. We are a world that depends on GPS. If you're traveling, you've got your boarding passes. If you're flying, you've got your app on your Delta app, and you're going to use your. I would strongly suggest that you print out maps, that you print out your tickets, that you don't rely on debit cards, or at least have enough to get yourself ready. And that's the really good point here that we talked about before, are the dates for this Mercury retrograde, and they go over the Thanksgiving holiday.
Right.
So, but I would also make sure that you double check not just the travel part of it, but you double check the what are you supposed to bring, who's coming, checking your guest list, anything that
Hmm.
has to do with somewhere where there could have been any kind of miscommunication. Because if Aunt Karen shows up with green beans, my mother-in-law is going to have a shit fit, because everybody likes Aunt Karen's green beans better than her green beans, and she's the one that's supposed to be making green beans. So you don't need that kind of kerfluffle over Thanksgiving. Just double check your guest list, everything else. It's just kind of a big word to the wise there. And that's when Mercury is in retrograde, especially in Sagittarius, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And especially if you have any major placements in Sagittarius, Gemini, Virgo, because Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo,
Right. So
you
what that means
you
is major
probably might yield.
placements. What do you mean by
Yes.
that? That would be your sun, moon, or rising, correct?
Yes.
So if
Yeah.
your sun, moon,
And
or rising is, would you say again?
the
The
Gemini,
signs.
Virgo.
Yeah, there we
and
go. So
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius,
So, yeah, because Mercury, you have Sagittarius, or you have Virgo and Gemini, and then Sagittarius for because that's where the sign that it's going to be in.
wait a minute. That's a trifecta for you.
Yes.
That's a trifecta for you, Tracy, because you are Sagittarius
And
rising, you are a Gemini moon, and you are a Virgo sun.
yeah,
Tracy.
every Mercury I get, because even if it's not in Sagittarius, every Mercury retrograde, I'm double whammied
So is that why
because
I
my birthday's
continually
in
have
Gemini.
issues? Because Mercury retrograde hits me hard as far as technology goes. And that would make sense because I'm a Sagittarius rising and I'm a Virgo sun.
Yep.
And so that with having Mercury over that, okay, then that would explain that. Very, very interesting. Okay. Wow. I didn't really think about that. See,
Yeah,
look.
so it'll be
See,
interesting to see how this next 20 days goes.
you really are the hot mess astrologer. I like
Title.
that. So the bigger placements, I like that. Thank you. Okay, so take a look at your charts, guys, and if you've got Mercury in, if you've got, if you're a Gemini, a Virgo, or a Sagittarius, if that's strong there, just let us know if Mercury retrograde hits you hard or not. That'd be an interesting one. That's a really good point. One thing I had is because Sagittarius has like a bigger global view, so it's always like the bigger picture. It's kind of got like a bigger sort of global look to it. And when we pair up Mercury being communications and the fact that it's in retrograde, that communications aren't always, they don't always come across as well as we would like. One of the advice pieces I have written down is make sure you keep global topics like war, taxes, and politics off the conversation table. It is
Yep.
likely because Mercury is in retrograde, you are likely to have a knockdown, drag out food fight at Thanksgiving if you start pairing up people on some touchy subjects. So you can try to do your best to steer conversations away from that and then avoid that, avoid any kind of kerfluffle. But that's one, anytime I think this Mercury retrograde is in Sagittarius, it's one that's just good idea. Just don't let people engage with you because they're probably looking for a debate. And no matter what you do, you're not going to win or get your point across. Mercury's in retrograde. Just, fake a migraine and walk away.
That's actually a really good point, because with Mercury retrograde, you always want to watch, what you say, because that
Right.
it's easy for things to become across wrong. But with it being in Sagittarius, Mercury is in detriment in Sagittarius. So that kind of like increases the chances
Ah,
of things being said and being miscommunicated. Um, Pretty much like
right.
a misfire that something's going to be said, somebody's going to take it wrong because of it being in detriment. It increases the chances.
Interesting. And can you explain detriment just a little bit? What does that mean? Mercury is in detriment. I know we use
So
different terms for it, so I just want to make sure it's clear for everybody too.
I'm
Because
gonna do it like really like high level.
sure,
So
yeah.
pretty much like so Mercury, if it was in Virgo or Gemini, it loves to be in those signs. It's home in those signs. It knows,
It rules those
those
signs, right?
signs.
It rules
Yes,
those
it
signs when we
right.
talk about those. Okay,
So
so it rules those. Okay.
things tend to be better when it's in those signs because it likes being there. It
Okay.
doesn't like being in Sagittarius. Because if you think about Mercury rules, I mean, think about Virgo, it's more detailed, it's more organized, it's more, structured, whereas Sagittarius is more free. Let's take a spontaneous trip, let's learn something new. It's more free than what Virgo and Gemini
In that
are
structure.
more in line, and so it doesn't really like being in Sagittarius. So that's why it increases the hectic things that can happen.
Well, that's just great.
It
Thanks
doesn't
a
want to be.
lot. But that makes sense. It's interesting that you say that. Just not. I don't want to go too far off topic. But when we talk about the traits and characteristics of the signs for Virgo and Gemini, one of the first thing that always comes to mind is lists. And so that's really interesting because Liszt says structure. And so that would make sense that Mercury likes that structure. And then you get fart in a whirlwind Sagittarius, and Mercury's like, "Oh, what the fuck, squirrel, what happened?" So,
Welcome to my brain. That's what goes on in my brain.
well, I can understand as a Sagittarius rising. Yeah, it is a constant thing. And I had written down, and so I guess that would really be true. I guess I think I wrote this down for last year. That Mercury in retrograde when it's in Sagittarius is like Mercury retrograde on steroids. So and I did because
That would make sense.
I wrote it down as a question. I was like, Darcy, does this Mercury retrograde feel like it's on steroids? I must have written that down in 2024 because back then Mercury retrograde was in Sagittarius from December 22nd to December 22nd, 2024 to January 1st, 2025. So I thought, I need to look back over the holidays last year and see if it was chaotic and to get an idea of what flavor this might have. I've learned from you, dear Tracy. You said go back and look. You said to do that, and
Yep.
so that's that. So I wrote down, does this feel like it's on steroids? That's all I wrote. So it must have been a very rough Mercury retrograde. So that would make sense though, because Mercury isn't comfortable. It's not, it
It
doesn't
doesn't
feel at
wanna be
home.
there.
It feels
So
like
just
it's
imagine, like, yeah, you go somewhere and you don't wanna be there, the attitude you'd have,
like a
that's
toddler, like a goddamn toddler. That's exactly what I would be. 100%. Now I will be honest, that really is all I have for Mercury in retrograde. I mean, it happens so often that, I mean, really the whole thing of, okay, guys, this is what we're rethinking. The real difference is what sign it's in. And this one in Sagittarius, that's
right.
really, all that I've got there. Expect technical and travel and communication delays. Plan ahead. So, how about you? What else? Do you have anything else, or can we actually let it wrap one up with? We actually
I
could
do
wrap
have a
one up
couple
under an hour.
I have a couple survival tips.
Oh, that's a good idea because, yeah, I could use some of those other than just shut my mouth. Okay, go ahead.
Well, the first one is think before you blurt.
Oh, yeah, that's a good
Sag
idea.
energy Sag energy means no filter. So, maybe
Yep.
count to 3 before you let the cosmic truth fly.
Okay.
Any travel plans, triple check.
Yeah.
Missed flights, wrong exits, showing up to a brunch a week early, stuff
No,
like
that would
that can
suck.
happen. And of course, anytime Mercury retrograde, back it up. Any kind of tech, any kind of projects you're working on, save, back it up in case something happens.
Good idea. I never think about I just always know to expect like issues with my Bluetooth. I'm sure at some point my car, which is 10 years old and has not had ever had OnStar, never had an OnStar subscription, during Mercury retrograde will at least once when I turn it on go, this car is connected to OnStar with limited connectivity. And I'm like, wow. Number one, who's that lady? And number two, I'm like, I don't have OnStar. I'm like, but it always happens under Mercury retrograde, but I didn't think about it that way. So thanks for sharing it. Yeah, that's a great way to think about it.
And then number 4 is reflect, don't react. One of the other Sagittarius themes or flavorings is reviewing your beliefs.
Oh,
So, especially because it's going to fall over the Thanksgiving holiday, don't start a debate. Don't, like you said before, don't bring up any kind of politics or anything like that because,
or
you,
religion. Yep. Don't start
yeah,
talking about
stay away.
religion.
Yeah. So reflect. Don't, walk away. Don't get into those conversations.
Be
And the
emotionally
last thing
intelligent, right?
exactly. The last thing I have is just laugh it off because Sagittarius, sense of humor.
I like that because that is one of those characteristics or traits that were typically ones that will try to make you laugh right off the bat or try to lighten the mood by doing something
Right.
silly kind of thing. Not like total class clown. I mean, it can be, but it's usually just something to try to lighten that mood a little bit. So I really like that. So just embrace that. And, the other piece of it, just as we wrap things up here, is to remember it's only 2 weeks. It's okay. It's not very long. This is a quick one. We're all gonna get through this, guys. I just, I hope that everybody's retrograde is, what is it? I hope everybody's Mercury is more Freddie than, Mercury. Or what was the cup? I can't even say it right. You know what I'm trying to say?
I hope everybody's retrograde's more Freddie than
No, because his name was Freddie Mercury. So maybe I hope your Mercury is more Freddie than retrograde? What? There's somebody sent us a picture of a cup that has something about a Mercury retrograde, but then it's a play on words with Freddie Mercury from Queen. And I can't remember what the silly phrase is. It's like, may your Mercury be more Freddie than retrograde. I don't know, guys. That I
yeah,
totally
we'll have
butchered
to
that
look it
up.
up and put it in
Oh my gosh,
the
because
group.
it
Put
was
it
so
in the face.
funny. I've totally lost my mind, just so you
I've
know.
heard it. I just can't think of what
Yeah,
it
I
is
really
off.
tried to bring it around there. I really did. So, yeah, I was trying to have this really awesome like outline. Like I was going to be like, okay, Tracy, then cut it, right? Like I'll be like, and may your Mercury be more blah blah blah. Totally botched it, everybody.
You know what it
So
was? It's Mercury retrograde. Your
yes, because we're
communication.
we're we're ramping up to it, and we've already established that I'm extra sensitive to this particular astrological event. So that's all I have for today, Tracy. If you don't have anything else, you want to take us out?
I sure will. This has been the Hot Mess Cosmic Express, where chaos meets cosmos. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and stay cosmic. See you guys later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.